Okay, so good evening everyone. How many of you have practiced the save code? No response. No, only one guy, Pradeep. What about others? What about the other half? You should finish it now. Because what we are doing in the today's class is modification to the yesterday's class. Like whatever how we have saved the data, we are doing the same thing in another method in this case. If you don't know the previous method, then how you will understand the next one? Anyways, I'll continue my class. Practicing is up to you people. You have to decide. Okay, so we have written a save code directly in the button click, which we generally don't do it in the corporate level in this case, because that they consider it to be not safe for writing such kind of a code, like directly saving the data inside the database through the .aspx.cs page. So for that, generally whenever when we were kids, we were used to go to temple. My father or my mother used to tell that we should leave both the chappals in two different places. The reason was, don't keep both the chappals side by side, because somebody else, if they feel that your chappal is good, they will wear it and they will go. So what they used to tell us was, keep it in two different places, so that the person can't find both the chappals together, so it will be safe. The same technique is what we use in case of the web technology in this case. So in web technology also, we have to make sure that whenever we write a data, all the code should not be there in one place. Like what we had done in the yesterday's class, we have written the front end, we have a stored procedure, we have a connection class, and we have all the data that is taken from the user. Everything is in .aspx.cs page. So if anybody hacks your data, immediately in one place he will find everything. So it's very easy for him to get all the data, and he can misuse that particular data in this case. So for this reason, what we have to do in the today's class is, every time the same method you should be following in the next program. Only for yesterday's class, to understand how the data is being saved, we have followed this particular method. Now how it should be done? Very simple. You have to create a one more .cs page. Okay, we create .cs page, that is class C# class page. In that we will be storing the data in this case. So I'll tell you how we have to do exactly. Now on the project explorer, right click here and go for an option that is add new item. So in the add new item, here I have to select an option called as class, and give whatever the suitable name of that particular class you want. Okay, like example, sometimes what happens is, I want to store like whatever the save operations I am performing, I want all the save operations in one particular class file. All the delete operations of whether it is a master tables or student, whatever it is, all the delete procedures should be called in a separate class file. All the update operations should be called in the separate file. So like this, we can create separate class files for different operations in this. So what I'm going to do is all the insert operations, whether it is a master file or master page, table data to be stored, student registration to be stored, faculty registration to be stored, all the insert operations, I will put it in one CS file by creating insert code.cs. You can give any name, but I am using insert code because easy to remember that all the insert data will be in this particular insert procedures will be in this particular class file in this case. So I'll create this, click on add. Now he is asking me an option saying that all these .cs pages must be stored inside one folder called as app_. So he is telling you place this here and just click on yes. So what he will do is he will create one new file called as new folder called as app_code. Inside this there is a .cs file that is insert code in this, and insert code is what you can see here. It is just like one class file defined in the CS file in this case. Okay, so you can see public class insert code. In that he has created one constructor. Let it be, I am not using this constructor here at all, so let it be as it is. What I have to do is very simple. I had included two header files. The same two header files I have to put it here. That is using system.data. Second is using system.data.sql client. The two header files which I had used in the yesterday's class. There I had created one more object for a class called as connection. So what I have to do here is I have to create the same connection SQL connection class after the class is declared. Now everybody remembers the C++ classes concept in this case. Here using a keyword called as class, we have created one class. Inside this you can write functions. Okay, so what I'm going to do is in this place I will declare a private variable, private SQL connection cn is equal to new SQL connection, and here the same parameters what I had done in the what I had passed in the yesterday's class. So I can just copy paste that particular line, or I can even cut paste it because this line is not required here. Okay, so I'll cut paste it. That would be a better option. And make it private so that the function, these things cannot be accessed outside the class for a safety reasons in this case. Next what I have to do is I have to store the data in the table. Okay, for that I have to call the store procedure. What I have to do is very simple, create one user defined data type. So under public access specifier, return type of the function I'll keep it int. Whether the data is stored or not, that will be returned by the function, and here I will create one function in this case. So create a function, I'll call insert or register insert student. I'll call the function name as insert student record. Okay, now one method is writing the function here directly, or the second method is in this place. In this place what I have to do is very simple. Now no connection, nothing, just initialize the label to empty, and here you have to create the object for this particular class. So let me create an object for that particular class saying insert code. I'll call the object name as objIc. You can give any name, equal to new obj insert code, open bracket, close bracket. So now I have created the object for my class which I have defined here. Next what I will do is here I will call one function in that. I'll call it as objins, now objIC dot insert student record open close. Okay, you create any whatever the name of the function you want to give, you can give here, but those function names must be meaningful, like what operation you are doing you should get to know by that. Next is I will pass the parameters in this case, like what are all the inputs that I am taking from the user. I will pass them as a parameter, those values from the text box that you can see here in this case. So I will take all those inputs here, like I need to pass okay, one more change I will do is I'll declare variables string student name equal to txt student name dot text dot trim. Same way string next is mobile number is equal to txt mobile number dot text dot trim. Next again one more declare variable string password equal to txt password dot text dot trim. Next string after password I'm taking, I'll just see what are the parameters here. Password, it is email ID, string email ID equal to txt email ID dot text dot trim. After that I have gender, and I had told you for gender it is different, so I'll just copy paste the same thing, it's already there, I'll just paste it here. So gender is copied inside the variable gender in this case. Next after gender we have course, address and date. So I'll take this, okay, course, address and string course equal to ddl course dot selected item dot text, and for that trim is not required because the value is, it does not have a space in between. Next string address equal to txt address dot text dot trim, and last it is string created on equal to, I told you, date time dot now dot toString. So what I have done is whatever the input, the tags I had taken, I have copied all the values inside these variables. Next in the insert student record function I will pass all these variables as parameters. So what I have to do here is just pass them student name, comma, mobile number, comma, password, comma, email ID, comma, gender, comma, next is course, comma, address, comma, created on. So I passed everything as a parameter in this, but now you can see there is a red line below this particular function name, because he is going to this particular page, that is objinc, that is your insert code, and he is searching for this function, and the function definition is not there in that particular class. For that reason he is giving an error. What I have to do is very simple, just click the cursor on this and you will get an option here. Click on this option and select the option generate method stub for insert student record in insert, and this function should return me an integer value. So what I will do is int I equal to, I'll write this much. Now just click on this and click on generate, and after a few seconds immediately the line is deleted, because what he has done is this particular function is by default created by the software in this place. So now you can see a function has been created. So I don't want this. Okay, that is a constructor. So now you can see a function has been created, return type is int, function name, whatever the variable names I had given there, he has automatically created the parameters for that. And then there is one error it is showing, just delete that particular error in this case. Now next what you have to do is, from this particular code, I have to just copy the remaining content. Whatever I had written in the yesterday's class, including the connection open, connection close, all those things, cut from here. Okay, go to that function, paste it here. And actually here we are not taking the data from the text box. So instead of that we have variable names. Those variable names are there in the first line. So just give those here. So instead of txt mobile number, instead of txt password, it is password. Instead of email id, it is a txt email id, it is email id. Gender as it is, course, address, and data. Now this is choice is yours. Anyway, I have passed it from there. You can take that, created on. Everything remains the same. And whatever the value that is returned by the execute non-query should be given in the last. That is return I semicolon. So I told you, if if the execute non-query has returned 1, it will return I as 1. If it is not returned there as 1, if it has returned 0, then this will return 0 back to the called function. And here I have just retrieved all the values from the text box, copied inside the variables, and then I have called the function. And the function, it will go to this particular this line, will jump to this function, and here the data insertion takes place, and then he will come back, and whatever is returned by I, based on that he will display me the message in this. So execution remains the same. Okay, what I have done is I have just created one class. For that class I have created an object, and then I have taken all the parameters from the front end, put it inside the local variables, and then I am calling the insert student function, passing those parameters here. And this will perform it will go to the insert code, execute the query, store the data, and he will return whatever is the return type in this. So I have not changed any coding in this case. Only thing is I have cut pasted some part, and main execution engine is inside the CS file, that is insert code in this. Now some people directly write it inside the insert code. Some people will say this data has to be again put in some another file. Okay, what they do is they'll cut this content, they'll put it in another file the same way. Here the data will be taken from here, they will call another CS file. In that file they will store the data. So that depends on the complexity how you want to have in this. For me this complexity is sufficient because the data is not directly stored in the .aspx.cs page. From there the data is passed to an insert code. From there the data will be submitted to other database in this. Now let us execute this program, and it will execute the same way what we had done in the yesterday's class. Okay, so this is my page I want to execute. Okay, so let me store the data in this. So Sachin at 123. I'll pass sachin@gmail.com, mail, course, PHP, Chennai, register, and you will get a message called as registered successfully. So there is no change in the output also, because if you have correctly copy pasted the things correctly here, there won't be any issues in this case. So this is how generally a safe execution is done. Double click and writing a code there to interact with the database is not always a recommended option in this case. What we had done in the yesterday's class was, in the Visual Studio, in this place I had gone to the design, double clicked on this, and here I had written the save code. Now what change we have done is, instead of writing the save code here, we take all the parameters from the user, put it inside the local variables, then we have created one user defined function called as insert student record, and from here it will directly jump to that particular function, and here we have written all the save code in this case. So this is how safe coding is what we do in our live projects in this case. So this is a method that is used in the applications, and you should also follow the same thing in this. Okay, so this is the only concept what I wanted to explain today, because I don't want to hurry up the things, especially these classes. Okay, and I want you people to practice it daily, one operation per day, not more than that. Like today I have explained you how we put the data in another CS page and execute the code from there. Tomorrow's class we will concentrate on how to retrieve those data. How, when we have stored the data in the database, how do we retrieve that data and display it to the user on the web page in this. So that concept we will be concentrating in the tomorrow's class. Okay, what I want you people to do is, of course,